Hi folks, and welcome back to another episode from ITG in the Garage Airsoft. Change from what I was planning on doing. I was planning on doing another follow-up to the iconic arms and airsoft video. However, I've had a couple of parts delivered, so I thought I would talk you through a few upgrades I'm going to do to my TM AKM, Tokyo gas blowback AKM, which is just fantastic. I mean, look at it. It is awesome. So what we're going to be looking at today, first and foremost, one of the, I suppose it's more of a sort of cosmetic issue more than anything else really, because it doesn't affect the performance, but the return spring is just a little bit weedy. So we have from bavtac the improved, I don't know, it actually tells you in the packet, no, it doesn't, return spring, so we're going to be fitting that. Then also, you see that there, we have got a bavtac magic hop nub, so I'll be talking through upgrading the hop up, and I'm also going to be fitting a flamingo 60-degree upgraded hop rubber, which I'll be talking through as well. So let's crack on and have a wee go at this. It's not the most difficult job in the world. It's not massively technical either. I'm only putting gloves on because I've obviously put a bit of oil and grease and all that on the bolt, so just to kind of keep my hands clean more than anything else. Right, so stripping down an AK, pretty much exactly the same because it's a gas blowback as stripping down a real AK. So push the button at the back, this does cover off. Move the selector lever down. This is safe, fully auto, semi, so just move it down to either full or safe, just so it's out of the way of the travel of the bolt, but we'll be doing that in a second. Pinching the spring, taking it back. Now this is a two-part spring. The spring's obviously one complete part, but the spring guide is two parts, so you can see from the wobble. This is what we're going to be replacing with the bavtac spring. So will I strip out the hop up just now? No, actually, I'll do it bit by bit. So we'll move this stuff out of the way and we'll do the spring. So it's a bit fiddly, but there's a wee, just pull the spring back, and there's this wee, oh, off camera, this wee catch here, which just fits into either side of the spring guide. And then just being careful because there's obviously quite a bit of tension on that. Pulling old spring off. And fitting new spring. So, bit of comparison. Oop, tangled. So new spring's actually shorter. Interesting. I thought it would have been potentially a bit longer just to help build tension, but no, it is shorter. Let's see how this goes. So just feeding it on. It's a bit fiddly with it being the two-part, but once you get over the end part it's not too bad. So I'd feed that in, and then that's where things get a little bit iffy. And then just see there, two parts. Just want to slide this into the middle, and that should keep the tension on, and that should be that. In, see if I can fill up a bit flusher. There we go. There we are. Spring replaced. Excuse me. Right, so let's see how this is faring. Back in just before, and yeah, you can feel that. Much punchier. Just giving it a nice, more solid slap back. You can kind of feel the difference in the the weight of the actual springs. This in here. It's always handy keeping your stock parts, because you never know, it might come in handy again. So keep that to one side. I'll see the that's on the outside. Trying to turn that off. Great. Right, so hop unit parts. So I'm going to have to take the spring back out, but that's no issue. So go back along, take that out, put it up to one side because I don't need it. Take the bolt assembly out. There you go. There you go. Full size replicated bolt, which is why I like gas blowbacks, because everything's quite in keeping with the real thing. Obviously the trigger mechanism and all that's completely different between this and a real AK, but for the most part, bolt, spring, it's pretty similar to the real thing. So next, moving up here, this lever, push it up, and take the gas tube off, and then moving forward there's a small lever here, pull that up, you can pull this attachment forward, and the bottom half the grip comes off. Over to one side now. Oh, don't need the camera. Now we need to take the barrel assembly off, and there's two hex screws just in here, which I believe are 4mm perhaps. They were pretty tight when I first took them off. I've had them out a couple of times now, looking at various different things, so they're not too tight now. It's a little bit awkward obviously because you've still got this. I mean, you could take all that off if you want to, but you don't have to, but it just makes it a bit awkward for getting into these bolts, but not too difficult. One. There we go. Oh, that was tight. There we go. There we go. That's the two hex bolts there. Right. So let's put this over to one side just now. And to remove the inner barrel and hop up assembly, which is this part here, just simply pull it out. There we go. And I'll put the so what we're going to be doing, okay, for those that aren't aware, in here, just take this, your hop rubber is just this part in here, and then the way the hop system on this gun works is with the dial here. As you increase the dial, that puts tension on this hop arm here, which runs across the top, which then, so we can line up so you can see it better. As you tighten it up, pushes the arm down, as you can see, increasing and decreasing the hop up. Now, for those of you who are not entirely sure how it works, basically the way the hop system works is by putting backspin on the BB. So if you think, let's grab one line here for, right, here's your BB getting fired. Okay. Now if you were to flick that, that is only moving with the force that you strike it with, passing the kinetic energy on by flicking. But if you were to do that, using the pressure of your finger to create backspin, obviously it fires with a much stronger velocity. Now, because it's on the surface and it is generating backspin, it will get to a certain point and it'll start to roll backwards. But if that's travelling through the air, it travels flatter with much more accurate trajectory. So that's why you want to put backspin on your BBs, and then you can adjust it. Too much hop up and the BB will actually travel forward and then start to curve up. Too little and it'll curve and then just lose velocity and dip down. So what you're trying to do with adjusting your hop up is basically find that sweet spot where your BB is going to travel in a perfectly straight line until basically runs out of power, and it will start to naturally drop anyway. So yeah, so upgrading hop up rubber is obviously different material in the hop up rubber to create better backspin. The hop up arm here, what this bavtac nub is going to do is actually going to sit underneath the stock hop up arm. So as I dial the hop up arm, it actually pushes on top of the nub, which then pushes down firmer on the hop up rubber inside, and then helps create that that better kind of hop up connection. There are different methods of doing this. There's actually a company that's now making a bespoke hop up arm. I have one of them on order, but it's not arrived yet, so I'm actually going to try out both different methods of having the nub underneath, and I'm also going to try the new arm. So bavtac stuff's been really good. I used a lot of it on my MWS, really liked it, which is why I've opted to go for their hop up nub just now. Give that a try, see how we got on with it. And the other stuff's coming from Jaeger Precision. Bought a few bits and pieces from there as well. Really happy with the stuff that they're putting out, so quite happy to try both. I was going to mention tools wise, I would never encourage anyone, so that's the hop up arms coming off there, to spend or go out and purposely spend money on tools to be tinkering with their airsoft stuff. I wouldn't say there's any specialist tools you necessarily need to buy, but I would say having a good set of precision screwdrivers is really quite handy, because a lot of these screws are really small, really quite fiddly, and particularly with the likes of Tokyo Marui or any companies from the Far East, they have a different their Phillips heads are a bit slightly different to ours. There are, I think if I remember rightly, it's called the Japanese Industrial Standard. So if I remember rightly, I think they're sharper and narrower. So if you don't have a good Phillips head screwdriver, you can actually kind of round the screws really easily, which is an absolute pain in the arse. So yeah, a good set of precision screwdrivers is really quite handy. These aren't anything fancy, these were like 15 quid out of Screwfix or something like that, so that's the only other thing I would definitely say is worth buying. Is if you're going to be doing any tinkering or an M4, get yourself an AR armourer's wrench. Again, I think that was about 10-15 quid or something on Amazon, but really handy for doing the likes of the castle nuts and stuff like that on M4s. Right, so here's our new hop rubber. And you see, give or take, kind of like for like, similar. It's obviously just a different material, slightly different. So this one should just pull off. New one on. Just give it a little, just a little gentle wiggle about. Make sure everything's seated correctly. Recheck, make sure there's no dust, debris or anything like that that's managed to sneak in there. And then that's it. New hop rubber fitted. Obviously the extra bit there goes into the slot there on the side. The other side back on. There you go. Just wiggle about, make sure everything's lined up. And these tiny little screws back in. They've got a magnetic tip. Oh, it does. Now, obviously, with it being gas, part of the gas system. You don't want it to be generating too many leaks. You want everything to be nice and snug and secure together. So much like tightening up the the nuts on a car wheel, just try and keep them equally tightened. Right, now I'm going to take the gloves off for this because this may be a little bit fiddly. So this little nub thing here, you can see it's got a slight curve to it, and that fits into the curved part of the arm. So like so. There we go. And then dial. And screw. And then the dial works. Yep. And then if we look, try and get a good line on it, there we go. So that's hop at the max. Turn it down. You can see that window through the barrel increasing, so that's hop off. And hop max. Great. And that's that. Oh, I've got the O-ring. Slide that back over there. Oops. Always end up knocking this thing off. This thing just sits on the side. Just make sure that that loop goes over that end. Oh. And it just slots like that. And that's that. O-ring just doesn't want to sit properly. There we go. Grand. And then from there, it's just simply a case of reassembling it. So, slide that back in there, like so. Slide that back in there, like so. And get them tightened up. I'm probably going to do a video on the AK as part of the Iconic Arms and Airsoft video, because I mean it's an absolute classic. The AK. I'll also be pointing out, because I love to be accurate with things, the differences between an AK-47 and an AKM, which this obviously is. So yes, it is an AK. It's not an AK-47 though, and I'll be explaining to you why, if you're interested. There we go, and bolt. Okay. There we go. There we go. Right. The only thing you might find is with the spring being a little bit beefier than the one that came off, there might be a little bit more tension on this button at the back if we get the dust cover back on. So be a bit aware of that. If I can actually get the thing lined up properly. Oh, you get the gist anyway. Anyway, so there you go. Hot power replacement, magic hot knob fitted, and tension spring, return spring replaced. I'll get this put back on, do a little test shots, and that'll be it. Thanks very much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. And as I said, I'll be doing a video on this sometime in the near future for iconic arms in Airsoft, and I'll also get you the 1911 video that I was planning on doing with the last shot. But for now, cheers, thanks.